Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you a layering technique on curly hair that reduces the density internally and prioritizes the length externally. To start with, I'm going to assess the fixed factors, things like the crown and the hairline. It's important for me to prioritize the length in these external hairline areas. This is going to dictate my sectioning pattern. As you can see here, I'm taking a deep V section throughout the top and the sides. Here's the final section pattern. I'm going to start by creating my initial guideline section, no wider than the width of the comb, through the center at the zone at the back. I'm now going to assess the length of the layer that I want to create. I'm choosing this technique because it helps me to retain the length towards the external shape and reduce the density on the internal shape. Choice of length is going to be crucial here. Leaving the hair too long may result in too much weight. I'm going to continue this process, ensuring each subsequent section is directed back towards me, creating a horizontally and vertically square line. Choice of length is dictated by the surface that I'm cutting on. I'm taking into consideration where the occipital bone is and leaving enough length to slim down this area and retain length towards the external shape. I'm going to repeat this process until I finish this side of the zone. Once I have that side complete, I'm going to go on and cut the other side of this zone, repeating the same cutting techniques and methodology that I used on the other side. Remember, this will create a horizontally and vertically square line. I'm going to cross-check my sections. What I'm looking for is balance in this zone. Once I'm happy with the length of the layering, I'm now going to go through and reduce the length throughout the external shape. It was important for me to approach the haircut this way, as I didn't want to reduce the external length too soon in the haircut. This could potentially ruin the overall shape and length choice. I'm going to use a length from the previously cut zone as a guide for the zones in the sides. I'm going to establish this length first by taking a section no wider than the width of the comb. While layering, I'm using an overhand cutting technique in all zones. This is to ensure consistency in my methodology. Always find the guideline before cutting hair. If you can't see the guideline, don't cut the hair. Remember, think twice and cut once. I'm going to continue this cutting methodology until I reach the hairline at the front of the head. Once I've completed one side, I'm going to move on and complete the other side. Notice again my body position and hand position. When I'm working on the back and the sides, which is all zones below the widest points of the head, I'm ensuring I'm cutting with an overhand technique. This means I need to be mindful of my body position. Much like before, I've prioritized the length throughout the external edges. Now I'm going to go through and refine these edges with my razor. I'm creating a diagonal back line, which will help me to open up the face shape. Moving on to the top now, I'm going to create a guideline through the center of this zone. This will dictate the length throughout the whole panel. securing the hair away with clips. Much like the sides, I'm assessing the layer length as I want to create in the top. As we discovered at the start of this haircut, I want to prioritize the length towards the external shape. So I'm going to use the length at the front as a guideline for the square layer throughout this top panel. As you can see, there's a lot of internal length here, which is creating some undesired density. I'm going to continue this technique until I reach the outer edge of this panel. Once I reach the last section of this panel, I'm going to overdirect towards the center slightly to make sure that I retain density towards the external edges. I'm going to cross-check my internal shape for balance. As I get towards the front, I should see a slightly triangular line form towards the corner. Once I have that side of the zone complete, I'm going to move on and continue my cutting methodology. Remember, once I get to the outside edge, I'm going to push towards the center for a slight bit of overdirection to retain density towards the outer corners of the hairline. Now that's the layering complete, I'm going to go back through the haircut and break it up into quadrants. This keeps the haircut organized while I go through and add texture and movement throughout the whole haircut. I'm using a chipping technique here to create purposeful channels and gaps between the curls. This allows me to mimic how curls actually live, with a regularity towards the ends. I'm only working in the end third of the hair shaft. This is because I don't want to remove a lot of density, I just want to open up pockets of movement throughout this haircut. And to do the same technique throughout the top, and open up some channels for irregularity throughout the haircut. This kind of cutting technique gives the haircut a much more organic feel. You can see the shorter pieces of hair living with the longer pieces of hair. The last thing I'm going to do is to refine the external length around the face line. I'm using a combination of the flat blade and a channeling technique to remove length and create texture at the same time. Moving on to the styling process now, I'm applying a curl cream from roots to tips throughout the whole haircut. And then I'm going to comb the haircut back down into place. This is to control the hair and to stop it from going frizzy, encouraging the cuticle layer to lay and sit in its natural position. I'm using the diffuser on my Supersonic to bring this haircut back to life. With a low speed and a low heat, I'm encouraging the curls to lift back off the head. I'm going to rotate the hair around the head until it's about 60 to 70% dry. It's important with curly hair not to dry out completely, as we can risk it going frizzy. I've applied a spritz of water to the ends, and I'm going to place the curls where I see fit. And that's the finished look. A square layering technique to reduce density internally and prioritize the length externally. Thanks for watching.